Well, hi there. It's Tuesday again. I'm glad to have you join me today. I wanted to talk to you today about the subject of I can do it myself, something that I've learned during this whole process of moving in out here to Dearhorn Valley. Only those of you that know me really well know what my favorite movie is. It's a movie that came out in 1999 and it's called The Straight Story. It's based on the true story of a man by the name of Alvin Straight who was in his 70s and he couldn't drive anymore because his eyesight had gone really bad. He couldn't walk very well anymore because his hips and knees were shot, and so he used two canes. And he heard that his estranged brother had a stroke. And Alvin Straight lived in Lorenz, Iowa. I've been there. In fact, I even talked to the newsman that was part of putting the movie together. Talked to him for quite a while, as a matter of fact. And he took me over to Alvin's house and wanted to take me over to see the lawnmower, which I'm going to tell you about right now in just a second here. But Alvin found out that his brother, who he had had an argument with 10 years earlier, was likely dying. He had a stroke, and so his brother lived in Wisconsin, about 260 miles away, and he didn't know how he was going to get there. And because he couldn't drive, he didn't have very much money. So he got an idea, and he built a trailer that he could hook to the back of his lawnmower, and it was a sleeping trailer, and he decided he was going to go on this adventure to go see his brother, which he did. And the story is all about Alvin's adventure going to see his brother. It's a great story. It's a beautifully shot story, and plus all the way through he meets people that are just endearing characters, and there's teaching lessons all the way through this very sweet story. It even won an Academy Award, I think it was, for cinematography, the beauty of the terrain as he's riding his lawnmower along to find his brother. There's a piece in the story that Alvin is riding his lawnmower, and a whole bunch of bike riders come past him. It happens that it's the time of Ragbri, which is the ride across Iowa on bicycle. In fact, you can ask Chaplain Dale about that. Dale has done that ride. But all these riders go past him, and so he follows them to their camp that night. And as he's interacting with the riders at the camp, one of the young men asks, "What's the worst part of growing old?" And Alvin says, "Well, the worst part of growing old is remembering when you were young." And I suppose there's some truth to that. When we're young, we can do all kinds of things. In fact, we feel like there isn't anything we can't do. That was kind of the way I was. I did about everything that ever needed to be done around a house, both when I was a kid, when I grew up, got married. And so now in this time of my life, I'm not able to do nearly as much as I was able to do when I was young, but sometimes my mind doesn't remember that. When we got close to making this adventure, moving out here to Dearhorn Valley, Judy and I had a conversation, and I said, "Honey, you know what? I want to have a low profile on this move. I don't really want to say much to anybody. I want to do it all myself. I want us to take enough time to just do the whole thing ourselves." And it wasn't really for pride. Well, maybe it was in a sense, because I thought I could do it, and it turns out I couldn't do it. But the men and women of Horizon have helped us so much. This is our third move, and the first two moves you guys helped so much, and I didn't feel good about having help this time, and so I wanted to be able to do it myself. Well, as it turns out, we hired a moving company to help move us, and we packed a whole bunch of stuff before it was time to move. And then all of a sudden the coronavirus hit, and the house had just a whole lot more stuff that needed to be done, and we got in a really bad kind of a crunch. And we just never dreamed how big of a job this was going to be to move us out here into this area. But it became a lot bigger than what we ever imagined. By the time we were here, we were exhausted. It did take movers, and it took a whole bunch of you guys and gals to come and help us. I don't know what we would have done without you. In fact, I went from saying I can do it myself to saying, I don't know what in the world we would have done without our friends at Horizon South Bay. There were so many of you that came out, especially at crunch time when we found out that we were going to have to move early. And today we just couldn't imagine what it would have been like had you not rescued us. The Bible has a lot to say about friendships. I saw a website in the Bible this morning that said the 100 best Bible verses about friends. And so I kind of looked through them a little bit, but there was one verse that was already sticking out in my head. It's Proverbs 17:17, and it says this. It says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." John MacArthur, in his commentary in his Bible, he writes, a true friend is a constant source of love. He says, oftentimes your family lives far away, but friends are people that live near you, and they're a constant source of love. And then he goes on and he says, friends are closer than brothers because they're available at all times, not just times of crisis. Well, it's hardly necessary for me to instruct you about how to be a friend. Like Paul says to the Corinthians, I'm saying it a little bit different, but the thought is here. You are living epistles. You are living epistles. All of you are living epistles as to what good friends are to be and how they're to be. And he says, you're a letter written from Christ to our hearts. That is the way that we feel. Just saying thank you or saying we're so grateful just seems like such a small word to say for all the help and the love that we've received in this move out here. We are terribly, terribly grateful, but you truly are living epistles as to what friends are, and you've been a letter to our hearts, and we're so grateful for you. We're still living in this beautiful place that we can't believe is now ours, but it's been a blessing from God. I know it will be now for the rest of our time living here, but you will always be closer than brothers to us, because you were there in times when no one else was available, and you made yourself available to help us. And so we thank you so, so very much. I think this is probably the last Tuesdays with Norlyn that I'm going to do that has to do with our place here. I've just wanted to be able to share some of those things that we learned along the way since we moved in here, and so I'll kind of shift. I'll still be doing the Tuesdays with Norlyn, but I'll be kind of shifting to different kinds of subjects. But it's been truly a blessing for me to be able to vent to you, to tell you the things that the Lord has shown us, and finally to express how much gratitude we have for your kindness to us. God bless you. We'll see you very soon. I'll see you on next Tuesday, as a matter of fact. And I'm not sure what we'll talk about at that time, but look forward to that time with you. God bless you. Goodbye.